Well, this is it, the hunt of hunts on Western Extreme. We're in my home state of Washington, and we're hunting Roosevelt bull elk. Now, Roosevelts are near and dear to my heart. I grew up in Tillamook, Oregon. I've been hunting them, and I'm telling you, the world's largest Roosevelt. A lot of them might believe that they're in British Columbia over on the islands, but no, they're right here in my home state of Washington.
Western Extreme, brought to you by Bowtech. Refuse to follow. Can-Am. The facts say a lot, but the ride says it all. Shell Rotella. The engine oil that works as hard as you. Irish Setter Boots. The hunt never ends. Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. Brought to you by Firestone. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone.
This week we're hunting Roosevelt bull elk in Washington. Now, a lot of people perceive that the largest Roosevelt bulls in the world may come from the islands over in British Columbia. But I tell you, the largest bull elk in existence on planet Earth are right here in Washington. Now, this week we're hunting with Shane from WashingtonBigBulls.com. He spent the entire year scouting, and he's found some absolute giants. Everything's in place: age, genetics, and nutrition. This is going to be the hunt of hunts. Now, I'm hunting with my really good friend Steve Torrance, Top Fuel pilot. Steve, you can watch him on ESPN on Sunday mornings. He's basically a world champion drag racer. He runs Top Fuel dragsters at over 300 miles an hour. And he's teamed up with my oldest son, Randy. Now, Randy is as proficient with a bow in his hand as he is with a video camera. And so Randy's going to be tagging along. Him and Steve have some really good ideas on how they're going to be able to target some of these big bulls this week.
Randy's been in here for about 5 days, scouting out the area. He's put up a tree stand here for us. It's 35 foot. We've got 20 foot of climbing sticks, and we're another 15 foot up in the air, just to get us up out of the scent and to keep us away from spooking these bulls at all, right?
Yeah. What they're doing is they're coming out of this trail right here, and they're feeding right here in this grass. And then they're going over by, there's a pond right over here about 200 yards, and they're just bedding down right behind that pond. So I think as they're transitioning through here and feeding, I think we're going to get a shot either tonight or in the early morning.
Yeah, these bulls have been coming in late in the day, eating in the field a little bit, and then, you know, maybe bedding down for a couple hours, and we've been seeing them really, really consistently. So I'm hoping we get a shot tonight.
Yeah, I think we will.
Okay.
I think we're going to do good.
Well, let's get ready.
All right.
Apparently, when we got here, these guys didn't have a clue that I was scared of heights. We're talking about where we're gonna hunt, the setup that they've came and put in. I just flew in last night from Indy. I'm new to what's going on. I don't have a clue. I know I'm here Roosevelt hunting. I'm pumped up. They tell me that the stand that I'm in is 35 foot. I said, no, guys. You got to be kidding me. We get out this first evening hunt. I walk to the stand with Randy. He's looking up, I'm looking up. I said, dude, there is no way I'm getting in that deal.
He can go 330 miles an hour in a car, but he can't go 35 foot in a tree.
I heard that. I climbed up in this stand. I've got my harness tied off. I've got my Bowtech in my left hand, and I've got my right hand on a tree branch, and I'm not turning loose for anything. The setup that we had was on a main trail coming into a little field, a little open field where these elk had been coming in and bedding. We had some trail camera pictures of them. Just an awesome setup. I mean, they were coming in pretty much every day in the same spot, bedding down. We knew they were coming in late.
When season first started, it was my job to film Steve, and we had a trophy bull spotted. So that was my only goal, was to get that bull on camera.
monster. I can't believe how big that thing is. Dude, that's awesome. We just smoked an absolute Washington State Roosevelt elk giant. 8x9. Biggest elk I've ever seen. Biggest Roosevelt I've ever seen. First that I've ever shot. I shot him a little far back, but confident about the shot.
Look, this is the deal. Mr. Torrance has actually just shot a huge bull elk. Now this isn't like a Rocky Mountain elk. This is in Washington, Oregon, and parts of California, and then Vancouver Island. The Roosevelt bull elk. The guys with the big bodies and the small horns, unless you're Mr. Torrance.
Typically big bodies, small horns. This bull that we shot, we've been watching for a couple days, absolute monster. When he comes in, I just start looking at the ground so I don't have to see all those antlers up there because I was nervous. My heart was pumping.
Focus on the spot. Gotta focus on the spot.
Aim small and send it.
All right. Oh my word. That thing is huge. Steve.
That's a monster.
Rambo.
Hey, we did it.
Good job. Dude, look at that sucker, dude. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a love. There's a reason why we hunt. There's a connection to the animals that we pursue. And growing up in Tillamook, Oregon, you know, I've hunted my entire life, and I have never even seen a bull like this. The largest one I've ever shot was a 5-point, and we're sitting right now in front of one of the biggest rosies of all time. Look at the girth around his neck. Look at the body size of this elk. Now they talk about smaller horn sizes and bigger bodies on the rosies, and the Rocky Mountains have way bigger horn size and smaller bodies. But this is all the combination. This is literally one of those elk that is, you know, 7, 8 years old, reached a maturity level, everything about it. It's just spectacular, absolutely spectacular. I mean, I'm just in awe of this.
Randy and I worked our tails off to get this bull. We sat in the stand 14 hours straight. It's so humbling to come here, being from the South, from Texas, and come up here and hunt elk like this, and just the opportunity to take a bull. This is a once in a lifetime bull, and to share it with you guys as hard as we work to do it. Shane, Dennis, Jim, thank you for all the opportunity you've given me and just letting me come here and do this on the show. Truly an experience of a lifetime that I'll remember forever.
While we're sitting in this blind tonight, is just about every night there's 9 bulls that are working this field that Hillbilly and I have been looking on camera. We've got a few of them picked out. What they're doing is they're just skirting and feeding in this field right when they walk out of the timber, and they feed right before dark. So we're gonna see if we can shoot one tonight.
I'm looking over to my left, and all of a sudden Shane nudges me. I look to my right, and there's the bull. He's coming in.
This is the unique bull we've been looking for. He's at 88 yards right now.
These bulls were kind of leery of the blind. They didn't really know what it was, so I knew I'd have to be at full draw when he crossed the window. As that bull's closing the distance to the blind, I just think to myself, aim, aim, aim. I anchor up, get my peep, and as soon as he walked in, I put the pin right on him, and I pulled through the shot.
That was one of the bulls that Hillbilly and I had seen on camera. We knew he was unique, and I told Shane, if that guy comes in, I was gonna shoot him. My bull's down. We stayed in the blind a little bit, let the other elk leave the field, but Dad's right here somewhere.
Dude, you smoked him, huh?
I did.
Right on, guys.
That's awesome.
Bro.
Thank you,
Right
Shane.
Well, you guys, these are Roosevelt bull elk. They're not the Rockies that we usually hunt. I grew up in Tillamook, Oregon, and Randy took his very first bull elk when he was 12 years old, a spike, and now we did it again. How many yards?
It was about a 32-yard shot, and he went about 60 and fell over.
Cool, man. You know where he's at?
He's right over here, yeah.
Yeah, right there in the dark. You know, guys, when I look at this bull, it reminds me of like being in New Zealand. I mean, it's got big crowns on top of it. I mean, obviously, this is one of the bulls that you wanted to look at. You've been talking about it the last few days. Now, there were 9 different bulls over the last few days that have been in and out of here. In fact, there's two big 5s, a big 6, and a big 7 with this bull, and you just couldn't stay off the trigger.
Nope.
Now, when you look at Roosevelt bull elk, you guys, one of the things that's really unique is these red antlers, huh, Hillbilly? I mean, it's just like something that you can see over and over again. part of the character of being and hunting Roosevelt bull elk, and they rub on the alder trees. It gives it a real red color, and this one is really, really red. And obviously this is going to be a really great eating bull, and that crown stuff on top gives him character. Randy, congratulations, dude.
Thank you.
Laid the hammer down. His second Roosevelt bull elk. And Hillbilly, thank you very much, man, from our family to yours. For me personally, the way I feel my heart, what I truly enjoy, is just being able to chase elk right in the middle of September with a bow, with a call. There's just something special about having that animal communicate with you. There's a connection you have that you can't have with any other type of hunt. Elk are majestic. There's just something about feeling the adrenaline in your heart, getting within a few yards, connecting to that bull, calling him, and then when he shows up for the first time, there's nothing like it. Now, one of the ways he's been successful as an outfitter and helped a lot of hunters be able to shoot Roosevelt bulls is he finds the areas where those bulls come in and feed. He's looking for transitions, pinch points. A lot of these bulls are actually hitting farmers' fields early in the morning and late in the day. And so Shane has been setting up a lot of hunters, some blinds and tree stands, and putting them right into the danger zone. But for me, my favorite way to hunt an elk is with a call in my hand, spotting and stalking, and trying to get them within a few yards. I grew up in Tillamook, Oregon, where I had hunted a lot of Roosevelt bulls pretty much my entire life. Their bodies are much larger and their horn size is just a little bit smaller than the Rocky Mountain cousin. But make no mistake about it, a total challenge, a really amazing animal. And for me to be in my home state of Washington hunting big Roosevelts, I'm excited. I mean, I don't think I've ever been anywhere where there are bigger Roosevelt bull elks than right here in the state of Washington. There are some legitimate 350 to 380 inch type bull elk in this region. It's just a matter of getting them in front of me.
We are hunting the biggest bull of my life. We got the right wind direction. We believe they're bedded like about 200 yards. You can feel the adrenaline today. I can actually feel the adrenaline in my ears.
You know, one of my strategies when I'm hunting elk, I always wonder where I should be. I always feel like elk walk on elk trails, so I shouldn't. If we have several callers and a shooter, the shooter's always in the lead. When we're walking to a location or we're chasing an elk, or we feel like we're moving towards where an elk, is calling us back, we make sure that we separate the shooter in the front and the caller 50 to 80 yards back. So when we light a bull on the trail, we can instantly dodge left and right. Everybody knows their position and where they should be. This is one of those small tricks.
Our big strategy is we've got a lot of timber, in and out of here in Western Washington. It's really super, super dense. And so our goal is to do these 2-3 mile circles in this timber every morning. We know that the elk have a couple of feeding sources within a half a mile of here. And it's not unlikely for an elk to walk several miles from his bedding to his feeding area. We don't really want to be in their bedroom, but we want that transition area between the two of them. A lot of times you'll see that bull, that herd bull that we're looking for all the time, that's usually much larger and more mature and older. He'll just sound all the way through the timber, making sure that there's no other bulls in front of him. He really doesn't want to have a confrontation. He doesn't want any of the ladies taken away from him. So a lot of times he'll just sound off. And so if we can get up and get in front of them when they're coming out of their feeding source, most likely we can intercept them. And that's kind of been the strategy. It hasn't been working real hot, but we're working on it. So anyway, just gotta keep after it. Just keep calling, huh?
We'll get one.
There's a lot of bulls in here.
Yeah, there's a lot of bulls.
Just aren't calling back. Prior to season, Shane has been scouting, and there's been places where there's been 8 bulls, 9 bulls all together. Some of them are over 350 inches. We have game tracker camera after game tracker camera after game tracker camera pictures of some just absolutely awesome, some of the biggest Roosevelt bull elk that I know of anywhere in the world. You know, there's only several places you can hunt them, and this is one of them. So you just never know what's going to show up in front of you. And I'm hoping I just won the lottery ticket, and I'm going to be able to find a big bull this week. But we're going to stay to task. That's all you can do. Set a goal for yourself. Don't give up. Do not let that thing on that little voice on your shoulder tell you to stop. Just keep going until you get her done. We just got a bull lit up. We finally got one to answer us. We've been bugling all morning long. Right at daylight, we got one bugle. And now we're back in the timber, and we got this bull out of his bed. I'm pretty sure he was in his bed. I'm not sure he has cows or not. I could hear him walking, but he's not very far. Only about a couple hundred yards off here. Dude, we gotta work the wind. I think we gotta do a complete circle around the backside, huh? All right, get you go.
You start the call sequence out, you look off into the distance, you're wondering whether you're actually going to have an encounter, or there's going to be cows, or the wind's going to switch and change, whether you're sitting on the right trail. Will he come in at 80 yards and hold up, and you may never see him? Are you going to be able to get a shot? I mean, these are all the things that just race through our minds as we're trying to get close enough to have that one magical encounter where we're completely hidden. We're able to draw the bow and fire the arrow. I was starting to close the distance, and then all of a sudden, finally, he appears directly in front of us.
We got this bull right.
I found that if I moved off to my right-hand side quickly, I might be able to have an opportunity. I started calling again, using a series of cow calls, a few bugles, not to intimidate him, and pretty soon he started to light up. He started to respond. He was getting hotter and hotter and hotter. It's really special when we're working that timber and you're working around, and then all of a sudden, here comes that bull elk, and you can just see those horns moving above the brush line. Grab the rangefinder, range him. Here he comes, but the problem is it's so dense that I'm really worried that I'm going to be able to get a shot. Can I stop him with a cow call in time to be able to slip an arrow through there, or am I just going to have to wait? He just starts to clear. I draw the bow, I give him a slight cow call, and he stops.
Guys, that is a Roosevelt bull elk. Oh my gosh, we had to move around. We were playing hide and seek with this bull in here. It's really noisy, it's very dense, and we just got it done. We hammered him. Dude,
Good shot, bro. Right on. You smoked him.
You know, this is just one of those hunts that's just near and dear to my heart, man. We finally got him to call. Oh man. That right there is what we call a Roosevelt bull elk. It's not a Rocky Mountain, it's a Roosevelt. Thank you very much, man. That's my very first Washington bull. And what's really cool about that is this is the last Western state for me to be able to harvest a bull elk. And man, it's near and dear to my heart. You know, everybody starts somewhere. Everybody has a connection to why we hunt. You know, everybody has their own reason. And I've often said, God didn't get it wrong when he invented an elk.